Hey everybody, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We're back here on YouTube, and this week's quick tip is talking about trying to bend the paddle by introducing external rotation with the elbows. Tensioning the paddle with proper upper body leverages and positions allows your power transfer to the water to be more complete. Being in bad position with any of the joints means that our energy transfer through these joints is going to be inherently limited. First, let's clear up what positions we're talking about specifically, how they translate in the world of athletics, and how we can translate them directly to our paddle. When we have our arms extended out, the elbow position coming up and down is an indicator of the shoulders position. Internal rotation is as these elbows flare out, and as these elbows flare in together, this is external rotation. On the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com, we have a 101 series on Dragon Boat time trials, and this series features mistakes that are common in the dragon boat world. One of these mistakes is internal elbow rotation. The premise of this video is talking about the external rotation and bringing these elbows in and how it applies to the paddle stroke. Looking at this elbow position tells us about the shoulder position and the subsequent muscles that are attached. Ultimately, if this elbow is in internal rotation, all of these muscles are stretched and this power transfer is going to be limited. External rotation tightens all these muscles and allows this power transfer to be more complete. There is a video graphic that I have seen on social media depicting a paddler in a K1. During the animation, there is a point where they are bringing their elbows in and tensioning the paddle. It is only for a brief second or two, and there is no text or speech explaining this, and I feel like not a lot of people understand what they're seeing in that. Seeing that external rotation of the elbows and then the paddle itself literally flex. There is a purpose and a function to this. One of the reasons that I can look and identify that is back in my day, I used to be a power lifter. One of the lifts that we perform is the bench press. Just like with paddling, there are a lot of leverages and movement advantages that you can gain in this position to put yourself over a competitor that is inherently stronger than you. One of these is engaging external rotation with the shoulders. What we gain from external rotation with the shoulders is a lot more stability with our upper body. By bringing these elbows in, the shoulder blade muscles come together, the lat muscles flare out, and positionally we are much stronger with our elbows closer to the body than we would be internally rotated like so. You can see that if I try to perform athletic function from this position, that it is not as strong as being in a position like so. One of the cues that you look at when you have the barbell is trying to feel that you're literally bending the bar towards itself. Obviously, it's made of steel and you can't do that, but we are tensioning it in that direction. What that does is it pulls the elbows in, pulls the shoulder blades close together, and you create this very powerful base to push off of. Your ability to use your lats to stabilize the movement allows you to maximize the pectoral muscles as you push through and maximize your leverages through that lift. Bringing that all back to paddling, it is a very similar situation that we're in where we are faced with a barbell in front of us. Our ability to try and bend and pull this paddle inward on itself in this direction tensions our upper body. Finding and keeping that tension allows us to maximize the power transfer that we will have throughout the kayak stroke. This concept is the same with the canoe paddle as well. So as we're tensioning it, we're trying to pull the top handle to the side in this direction, tensioning it like so. You'll see my elbow flare in as I'm tensioning. And this means that as I'm in the water, my upper body is very tight and powerful to allow all of the power transfer from my hips and legs into the water. If I'm paddling on the opposite side, this top hand tension is going to come in this direction. This elbow is going to come down this way. You want to feel that the middle of the paddle itself is warping to the side. It won't, but you want to feel that tensioning on the paddle shaft itself. A very common coaching cue that you will hear in the world of athletics is tightening your core. This tensioning with these shoulders essentially tightens your thoracic spine and your upper back, and it allows your upper body to have that strong platform, no different than having a tight core for that upright stability. This YouTube channel features videos on upright posture. Your seated position allows these muscles to engage properly. Then it allows that power transfer to be more effortless as you engage with the paddle stroke. So as we're holding this, we want these elbows to flare in and being in a proper position. If your elbows do not come distinctly inward and they are neutral or flared up like so, this means that the muscles that attach to the shoulders are now elongated, and this means that we are not going to have that same power transfer. This would be akin to not having a nice tight upright abdomen and having it loose and extended and trying to perform your functions like so. Having your elbow position up elongates all these muscles, and now as we go through these movements, they are not as powerful and you are at a much higher risk of injury. Stretched muscles that are out of position and underload are the most vulnerable to damage. Tightened muscles that are squeezed together and supported by the number of muscles around those joints are much more protected and allow more power to transfer through the joint. As you're drilling this, having constant tension in your upper back and keeping those elbows inward is very good in feeling. As we're going through, right, my hands are coming together in each side. So as I'm taking the stroke here, I want to tension this way. As I'm taking the stroke on this side, I would be tensioning in this direction. One of the disclaimers though is as we learn these cues, we like to do them in extremes. Having constant tension all of the time seems like the way to go about this. Everything we do in paddle sports is about balance. We want the paddle tensioned and the upper body engaged as we're engaging the water. As the blade comes out of the water, we can now release and relax all of these muscles for a moment before setting up the next stroke. As we're in the setup phase, we begin tensioning, blade tip touching the water, engaging with the water, and then we release. Now we can start relaxing all these muscles again. Keeping the muscles firm and engaged when you are engaging the water distinctly, and then finding that moment to relax. This is very difficult. Switching between that on and off switch back and forth takes a lot of practice, but ultimately you just want to learn that feeling that you're looking for and make sure that it's there for you as your blade is traveling through the water. With the canoe stroke, it's a little easier to disengage those muscles because we have this built-in recovery phase that we're traveling through. As we're setting up, we're tensioning and making sure that the upper body is trying to bend that paddle. As we finish the stroke, right, everything can relax as the blade travels up to the front, and it's only right before we start to engage the water during the setup that our elbows start to come in, tightening up that upper body, finding that tension on the paddle shaft, and then completing the stroke. With the elbow position, obviously the elbow position is not going to come all the way in because then our whole body is out of position, right? But as we're holding it, right, we just want to feel like we're bending that paddle to the side. You're going to find that this top elbow is going to come in. Both elbows would travel towards each other just a little bit. So you can see that this paddle is not tensioned, it's very loose, and right here it's tension and it is pretty stiff. Same idea as I'm here. If my elbows are nice and loose, the paddle itself is loose. If I bring my elbows together, this paddle is rock solid. This demonstrates the power transfer that we're looking for. Having an unstable base for energy to transfer, this energy is going to be lost in this paddle being wobbly. Having that tension, securing the blade in the water, moving the boat to the blade, the more stable this is, the more power transfer you will get out of the stroke. An easy way to test the strength and stability that you have with external rotation of the elbow is to lean on a countertop or something about chest high that's very stable in a one-arm push-up position. Flare your elbow up into internal rotation and then try to complete a pressing motion. More than likely, you will find that it is very unstable and it is very hard to push from. And if you have shoulder injury in the past, you may feel that immediately from this compromised position. We look at paddlers that are engaging the stroke with their elbow that high. This is the same stability demand that we are introducing in this position. Now doing it more properly, when we're in that one-arm position, tuck the elbow down towards the ground into external rotation, tuck the elbow in closer to the body, and then lean forward and try to complete the motion. You will find you have a much more stable base. You will be able to progress through the movement much more, and you are much more powerful with that arm. Through the paddle stroke, we are not pressing, right? But we are creating stability by having this distinct shoulder position, which helps us with our power transfer. So as we go through the motion, we are not pressing from that position. We are just holding that position using the legs and the hips to complete that motion. We talk about using your hips and leg drive and more at the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com. We also have off the water exercises for posture, stability, movement, mobility, as well as performance training. That encompasses everything that we just talked about here and things you can do off the water to help with that. Thank you guys so much for supporting the YouTube channel. If you want to support K2N, we have some extra t-shirts here in various colors. If you'd like, I can ship them out to you anywhere in the US. If you're international, I'll look up the shipping rates and we'll try to get you these shirts. If you want more info on that, you can email me anytime. You can go to the website, find us on the live chat function. You can leave a comment here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for supporting this YouTube channel. We're almost at 1,700 subscribers. If you watch our videos, if you are not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that to help this channel grow. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you guys next week for our next quick tip video.